10 a.m. on Monday, September 18th, 2023. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioner Court to order. If everyone would please rise, Commissioner Watts will give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you so very much for the many blessings that you give to us each and every day. Father, thank you for the recent rain. And Father, we ask that you send more, Father, and fill our lakes. We need it desperately. Father, we just ask that you be with us today, guide and direct us as we make decisions that affect the citizens of Wichita County. Father, be with those that defend our country here at home and abroad. Father, be with them, bless them, keep them, and protect them. Father, we just are so thankful for all the many things you give to us. All these things I pray this morning in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, let's do the pledge for the U.S. flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone is seated. On the agenda is a presentation from Heather Simpson. Unfortunately, she could not be here this morning, so we will skip past that. Do we have any other presentations not on the agenda? Okay. Would like to recognize Senator Springer's district staffer, Melanie Berry. Thank you for being here. We'll let you make a full presentation on the happenings of the weekend if you want.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, that's going to be fine to make that presentation. Okay. Thanks for being here, Melanie.
Thank you, sir.
All right, then at this time it is 10:02. We will open up for public comments. We do ask that comments be limited to 5 minutes or less, and we remind everyone that no action can be taken on these items. Does anyone have a public comment? Anyone joining us remotely? Commissioners? Okay. Well, it's still 10:02, and public comment is closed. So at this time, let's move to the consent agenda. I've got questions on a couple. So consent agenda item number 14, which is the transfer of our interest in the property in Burke Burnett. And I guess, Cheryl, I guess this is the auditor's office sent this one over? No? It's not y'all?
No, Judge, I sent
Oh, it was you, Mel?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I sent that one.
That's a large parcel of land. Do you have any background on what's going on with it?
No,
Yeah.
Judge, I don't.
Jeff?
Well, I think that the city of Burke Burnett would like to use it as development property with the BDC or
Yeah,
along those lines. But when I look at it, and Lisa may can help me with this, but when I looked at this property, the property that's similar in close proximity is higher. This property's appraised value has not changed since 2010. It's at $185,000 for a tract of commercial property sitting against I-44. And now the city of Burke, after sitting on it for over 13 years, 14 years, has decided they have interest in it and want us to assign our rights away. And there is a clause, Mel, in that deal I looked at that said, hey, if we sell it, we're going to make you whole at that point in time to a third party.
yeah.
I just have real concerns that, I mean, we've not gotten any tax revenue off of this thing since 2009.
Yeah.
And shame on us, really, for not being able to look at those properties and ask more questions. We need to maybe develop that where we can see everything stricken off and say, what's the status of this thing? I'd rather give it to the neighbor than us setting on it.
And just for your information, I think that city property was
Oh, the one next to it?
Lisa, do you know, would the city be exempt possibly from experiencing any, it's not a priority or it doesn't catch on a appraisal of sorts? Is that why it remains flat like that for a long time?
There's not a lot of sales of those types of properties, and so, quite frankly, we don't give a lot of priority to exempt entity
Right.
properties. If we're working on it, yeah, we will, but we just really don't.
Right.
Put a lot of effort into it.
And they're paying no tax, so.
And I can give you a little bit more history. The city of Burke has went through and looked at their properties and found out everything the city owns. And they're really trying to get them out of the city's hands, so they're not sitting there, they're trying to get them back into use. So what they're trying to do is work with the BDC, moving property into ownership of the BDC, so the BDC can own it and work to incentivize businesses to come in and build or to that function. They're trying to use the BDC, have possession of the land to do that. But I don't disagree with what you're saying either.
Right. Well, what
I mean,
Mel,
we have to look out for
what,
the interests of the county here.
what Mel sent to us would indicate that if the city of Burke moved it to another entities, then at that point in time, we would be made whole or be, but I don't know that that's their full intention. They just, in theory, that's what they'd like to do to get it back in business development hands, but it indicates under the agreement that they sent us. But I was just shocked that since 2009, it's set there. And it's a high piece of property, and when I look at the deeds on those other properties, they have changed. They've been bought and sold several times. And it's like, nobody could buy this piece of property. Burke Partners LLC was involved in one, flipped one, and Black Knight Services, they flipped one, but it's like, if anybody was asking about this one, nobody was interested in selling it. And I don't know, it just doesn't seem.
So are you suggesting you'd like to
Sell our interest to Burke Burnett, that's what I'd ultimately like to do, but I say we pull it until we can get more understanding from them, because that's a valuable piece of property.
Okay. Well, so it sounds like Commissioner Watts is making the motion to table, to pull this one off of the agenda today. Is there any objection to that?
No.
Okay, then we'll pull 14 off of the agenda while we get more information. Okay. And then on item number 17, this is the motion to authorize the court to sign a resolution approving the decrease from 9 appraisal district appointed board members to 5 appointed members. Lisa, would you like to speak to the need for this? Or am I putting you on the spot?
No, that's why I came.
Okay. Do you mind coming up so that the microphone can pick you up?
You don't think I'm loud enough? So you'll be so proud of me, I think I have it condensed down. So this resolution is a result of Senate Bill 2 that passed in the second special session of the 88th legislature for property tax relief. Don't ask me why this is in that bill. I do not know, because I don't know what it has to do with property tax relief. But it really has to do with the appointment of board members. Since the establishment of the appraisal district in 1982, the Wichita Appraisal District has operated under Section 6.031 of the Texas Property Tax Code, which allowed the board to have up to 13 members, but it only has 9 members. And they are appointed by the taxing jurisdictions based on an approved allocation of members. So county currently has 1.5 members. Jeff is a half of a member. You run with that. Just saying. So Senate Bill 2 is actually requiring jurisdictions in counties with populations over 75,000 to appoint 5 members according to Section 6.03 of the tax code, which the largest percentage of appraisal districts, that's how they appoint their board members. Additionally, 3 members will be elected at an election held in May of 2024. Those 3 members will become effective July 1 of 2024, and the tax assessor collector will remain an ex officio member, but then he will become a voting member.
How does that work, a voting ex officio member?
I don't know, they
But
did
it's
not
considered
say
as
that.
how that's supposed
They
to
didn't
work.
say that. It was silent in the bill. So the attorney's opinion that we got says, and most attorneys in our field are agreeing that yes, they do become voting. So there's really 2 options for bringing the appraisal district into compliance with section 6.03. And the first option, which is the option that the appraisal district board, at my recommendation, is wanting to move forward with, because it'll be cleaner down the road. And what that is that the appraisal district board of directors passed a resolution last Thursday to reduce the number of appointments to 5. So moving it from 9 to 5. And what this does is it allows the jurisdictions that same opportunity to pass the resolution to move the board members down to 5. And that would be in place on January 1 of 2024. If there is no action taken, so if 3/4 of the jurisdictions don't pass this resolution, then everybody will appoint their members as regular. So basically, the city of Wichita Falls is going to appoint theirs, Wichita Falls ISD would appoint theirs, and Electra would appoint theirs, and but sometime before July 1 of 2024, there would have to be some method determined by our board to remove 4 of the appointed members, which is right in the middle of our year, right in the middle of when we're about to approve our budgets and things. So it would be cleaner if everyone goes ahead and passes the resolution, and that's what we were asking you to do.
And so the new method of appointing in 603, that this is a partitioning of,
It actually gives each of the jurisdictions votes based on their levy. So the county actually, once we continue with the process of implementing the tax reduction to the school tax because of Senate Bill 2, the county probably will have the most votes. I can't give you what they are, but it's approximately, you're going to have, right now you have about 1,300 votes. Every jurisdiction has the option to nominate up to 5 members. Once those nominations are placed, then every governing body will vote based on their allocation of votes. The county will have enough votes that they probably could have 2 members on our board. The city probably can have, the city of Wichita Falls can very likely have 2, and the school probably could have 1. And the small jurisdictions will not have a voice. But as you know, because you do this yourself, even though the jurisdictions appoint their representation on our board, that's not how they vote. They vote on operating board, the district.
Yeah, there's no, since my time, there has never been a instance of needing to represent the county and say, hey, let's do it for our benefit this way. It just doesn't happen that way.
and so the resolution would take effect immediately, or the resolution, would take effect immediately. It goes into place January 1st, but then it doesn't really become active till July 1?
It actually, the 603 would come into play January 1. So
Okay.
5 members would operate the district, would be the board members for the first half of the year, and then in July, the additional 3. I say 5 plus the tax
5.
assessor
Yeah.
collector.
Just
Okay, wait, no.
for the sake of anyone that might be listening that do not understand what the board does, what does a board member do for the appraisal district?
They hire the chief appraiser. They are responsible for having, facilities for the appraisal district, which obviously we're tenants in one of your buildings. They approve appraisal contracts. They approve the budget. They approve the reappraisal plan. They do not approve values. It's against the law for a board member to discuss values with the chief appraiser. They basically do a lot of administrative type things.
In other words, this is not the appraisal review board.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yes.
So just wanted to.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I want to make sure everyone understands what a board member does, that they're in no way setting appraisals.
No.
They have
No.
absolutely nothing to do with setting the appraisals on individual property.
That is
Correct.
correct.
Even to the point,
Any of the
Mark,
process,
it's against the law.
Yeah, it's against the law. Yeah. I just wanted to clarify
Thank
that
you.
for anyone that may be listening and have a question. Thank you.
And this would go into effect regardless of the passage or failure to passage the amendment.
This would go into effect next fall regardless of passage of the resolution.
Sorry, I meant the constitutional amendment.
The constitutional amendment is voted on in November, but we are taking the same position that the legislature is taking in that constitutional amendment will pass, because they've asked us to provide all of the numbers to the jurisdictions for their tax bills with the additional exemptions. So we're just moving forward as they are.
Well, all their required language that they're putting in everything, they're kind of lobbying their own. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing, it needs to pass, but.
Well, there's no chance it doesn't pass, but,
I had mentioned that, I'd hope that the entities maybe would appoint one, giving more entities the opportunity to share. But as we all agreed, if a person is not represented there, it's not that is a slide in any shape, form, or fashion, because it just doesn't function like that.
and this resolution is silent on the follow-up conversation of how we're going to allocate votes. This is just putting the parameters
Yes.
in place for the new
Yes,
procedure.
once this goes through the process, and all the jurisdictions have to have their public hearings, and that's probably not going to happen until mid-October, but when we get to the three-quarter part of it, and we can calculate the taxable values, which that also is a Senate Bill 2 issue. They don't realize how much programming has to go into when they make a change like that. So once that's done, I will determine what the vote is for each of the jurisdictions. Be happy to discuss it in the court or with you specifically, Judge, and we'll kind of work through it. It kind of has to go pretty fast to make it happen.
Okay.
And Judge, I'd like to say, it's Lisa's involvement. She was able to call around the state, pick everybody's brain that is anybody in the appraisal district world, and get that information and understand what others are doing, and then take that to our attorney. And if you're not plugged in, I feel sorry for those entities that are jurisdictions or of districts that don't have that same caliber of person. Lisa had the information, this quick from what her comrades were doing in those districts. So, and I think that's a good thing, Lisa.
It's high praise from half a board member.
I was a full board member and now I'm a part of it.
Then you got whacked off. I don't know what that means exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else have any questions for Lisa? Okay.
Lisa, thank you very much.
Thank you all for humoring me. My two issue questions on the consent agenda. Does anyone have
And
any?
yes, I did, Judge, as well. The item number 5, is that where we're housing inmates?
Yes, yes, and this would update it to the new $65 a day amount that we agreed on for the Wichita County agreement a month or 2 months ago.
Okay. And then 3 and 4, those are just nominal requests that were in the course of,
Yeah, on item 3, we added sheetrock, 2 walls that weren't originally destined to have sheetrock. This changes some of the, they'd already put the electrical in when that was decided. This is going back to rework the electrical on that one. On item 4, the area that's in question there is the area between the restrooms and the NPR, where we have 2 portions of our building that come together. We have the 80, or the 61 construction and the original courthouse construction that meet. It was unclear of how the ceiling was constructed above a portion of that until we got in and did the demolition, which left our ceilings at 2 different heights. So it was determined that the best way to move forward was to put a drop ceiling in that area. Unfortunately, the original contract called for strip lighting, like in the rest of the NPR. I did not want the strip lighting surface mounted to the drop ceiling. It would not have been good, so this is to address that.
okay, and then on item 7, 9, and 10, I'm unclear as to exactly those projects, but I'm disappointed in the way that MF Liticon has closed some of these projects. And let me.
There's not a project closed, Jeffrey.
What?
There's not a project closed.
No, I'm
project's
just
been
saying
closed.
that addressed maybe.
Okay.
For example, 6 months ago, we toured the district clerk's office before she moved in. Lynn Walker was with us. There was a punch list created, and that punch list has not been completed. And I don't understand that, because that should have, in a month's time,
I
closed.
wholeheartedly agree.
And so the best way to get somebody's attention as to calling these things out is hold that check, in my opinion. Because this can't rock on.
Well,
There is just things that are unattended that I don't know if it's Harper Perkins missing them or not failing to push hard enough, MF Liticon refusing to do them, but we've got doors in the law library that will not close. Now, who would walk away from that job hanging a door that will not close? That isn't supposed to happen. If it happened at mine or your house, we'd have a heart attack.
I don't disagree, but nothing, there's not a final punch that's been done on anything.
Well, there should have been, and there should,
No, there's
they
not,
should
should have
be
been.
knocking
We're
them
not
out.
done with the project yet. The project's not complete.
The problem is you have, really and truly, it all boils down to, and this is not Mark's fault, it's not our fault, but you have a contractor that's taken on more and more projects under one umbrella of a courthouse remodel, and there's 12 projects going on, and they don't have the staff to finish any of them. So we do have to figure out how to make them accountable to get the
And
projects
I
done.
don't disagree, and I've had many conversations with them to try to get more help
But
on this project.
I do agree that it will catch their attention if you, every time they get these bills, well, we need to get some stuff done, instead of just spreading out and making more and more. And I'll have some questions about a bill here in a second, but we just have to, finish some of the things that aren't being done really in a timely manner.
And I mean, as everyone, as Commissioner Watts was alluding to, our main point of leverage is payment. So to that point, you and I talked about this morning, Commissioner Beecham. With that leverage point on payment, what do we have in our pocket to leverage that on?
We always have the contingent, not the contingent, the
Retainage?
retainage, sorry, the retainage on every aspect of the project. There are retainage fees. If you look at the invoices, there's always a percentage retainage held out until the final punch list is done. We hold that retainage until we check, we go through the project and make sure everything is in order, the way we intend for it to be, the way it was drawn, the way it was planned for. We have not done a punch list. We did a temporary punch list to get us in that area downstairs because of what happened on the third floor.
Right.
So,
And
that it's not complete. It is not, no project in the courthouse is complete.
And I'd like to bring this to attention just because we're talking about retainage, just to give an idea of what we're talking about here. $127,000 item on the bid only has a retainage of $6,000. Most of the time, that retainage is such a low amount that per job that they really wouldn't care if they got it done anyway.
That
But
retainage is all adds
it's a
up to
percentage, yeah.
litigants' contract. It's a percentage on the entire contract.
Right, a
And that's-
$4.4 million project has a $200,000 retainage. So it's not a large amount of that process. But that is the only tool that we have as
That is the
commissioners.
leverage, is the retainage.
Well, any of it's a
Yeah,
leverage.
we could use for anything.
Any part of it could be considered leverage. It's just, we just have to do something to get some things. The people working in the courthouse here agree with the same thing. We have to, no different than the elevator project, we gotta figure out ways that we have some leverage over these contractors not getting stuff fixed or not getting stuff fixed in a timely manner.
Because the way that the contract is, the project is not each individual, like for the courthouse, it's one big.
It's one big project. You gotta stop looking at them as individual rooms. It's an overreaching project. You know, we call out, you know, we need the lower first floor and, you know, that's virtually finished. We got people living in there, so to speak. But that project has never been signed off on. We don't have a final. It won't be final until all of it's done. And we keep adding scope, we keep adding different things. The flood was unfortunate, which added a lot to it, a lot of complexities, a lot of moving parts. I'm in total agreement. There's a lot of things that have been left undone.
Is the north wall of the courthouse part of this project, or is it?
It's been part of the project from the beginning.
Okay.
That was part of the original scope.
And that was one of my complaints early on, is throwing everything into one umbrella of a project tends to cause some problems, I think.
Well, it sounds like that perhaps from our perspective, the court wants specific projects done, for example. I don't know that we've ever communicated that to the contractor or to the architect. Perhaps we let them know, hey, the doors in the law library, that needs to be finished out. And let them work on that, and then if it's still not done at that point, then when we talk about some of these payments that are gonna be moving forward every month, then we've got an issue.
You're all welcome to come to the OAC meetings every other week and ask questions, whatever y'all, I mean, it's an open book. I try to give y'all updates every week.
No, we're not, you think we're griping at you, don't get defensive, because we're not griping.
I do the same griping every week to them,
Yeah.
every day.
Well,
Bring
and
all
I
these
just-
things up.
This will put a little bit of heat on that griping, Mark, when we hold up that money. Because it just.
Well, let's talk
you
about
shouldn't-
holding up money. We
you
held up a
shouldn't.
lot of money, which caused us to get behind on one project already because we held payments that needed to go, and we lost season master for a little over a month on the annex project, which caused the delay. So you hold money back and then we don't have our subcontractors and it just snowballs. So we understand the cause and effect.
Next OAC meeting is this Thursday, right?
It's not a scheduled meeting. The scheduled meeting was last week, but because of some extenuating circumstances, it was canceled. I've asked to reschedule it. I have not heard back.
Okay.
There's a different building project meeting that's this Thursday.
That's
that you're
this
thinking
Thursday.
of.
Do you have anything else on that, Jim?
No, I would make the motion that we hold these payments until we get some more resolution and see some closure taking place. Tanya, I visited with your people. I think there's some stuff left undone you've been in your office for a long time. Don't leave the office until we really shouldn't have moved in until it was all through, but we can't just jump and jump and jump and jump. The windows in Annette's office, not sealed and closed up. I don't understand. But I think they'll get the message when we're saying, hey, we're going to close out some of these processes and reprioritize what your focus is here. So don't open this next door until you close the one behind you.
All right, you've all asked for different priorities to get done. We've got 3 major priorities happening this week. If you start pulling this, then all these things that we've got working right now are going to stop. They're going to come to a grinding halt. I'm telling you.
May I make the suggestion, and ultimately the court will decide, but I think that our conversation today may send a message, and we can reiterate that in a upcoming OAC or on a private level to the folks involved. This is going to come up again next month for us to pay the next batch of bills. I don't know that we've ever expressed our will to everybody involved like we have today, that this is a problem and we would hope it would be addressed. And I think that my opinion is we give them the time with this shot across the bow to fix those problems before the next batch. Y'all may disagree with me, and that's fine. But I do think that doing this today without having broached the topic before to any of them, at least as a court.
If people would stop changing their priorities and stop changing things for no apparent reason other than we don't like the color, then maybe we can move on.
Commissioner, I don't think that the issue here is, I think that's part of it, but I think to Commissioner Watt's earlier bill.
We could have been finished with a lot of things a lot sooner, but no. Everyone keeps changing the game in mid-flow, and I'm doing the best I can to manage everyone's changes, everyone's thoughts and processes.
Mark, this is not about you. This is about the ability of MF Politicon to get the work done. You don't hang a door that does not close and walk away from it. Nobody does that.
Those doors were closing when they were originally hung. The building is, everything's shifted.
Well,
When we start turning the air conditioners and everything back on down there.
There's
Irregardless,
a multitude of those things that
there are a
take
multitude of
somebody
things.
that has the foresight to say, let's get those addressed. I'm not gonna go start this other dilly-mo-whopper until we close this out. To leave these little items done, which are unsightly, they're not good, and
And I'm not in disagreement with that. I've been on all these little things over and over and over. But what do I stop? What progress do I stop when everyone has their priorities and wanting everything done today?
I wouldn't stop any of them. I'd just tell them that we're gonna close out some projects, and that's the way it is. It's not with the speed of lightning they're operating. So, if you gotta hire more guys, then you gotta hire more guys. If you gotta pull in a third party to help you, pull them in. And I mean, Harper Perkins ought to be here explaining some of this. Again, it was 6 months ago, we walked
Harper
through,
Perkins doesn't, they don't control the flow of work. They
we
do the
walked
design.
through the district clerk's office, and those punches have not been completed. And they were formulating the list then. That was a waste of somebody's time. If you're not gonna do them, then wait till the point comes to make those punch lists. But they can't even find the list probably, and that's irritating to me. And I just don't think we keep piling and piling and piling without closing. We're not making progress. We're just getting ourselves deeper and deeper. And I'd like to see some resolution.
Procedurally, Commissioner, did you have specific ones that you wanted to hold off, or were you?
Well, I really don't know the parameters of those, because they're 11, 23, and 10. I just thought that we should hold up, have the discussion with them, tell them that we're gonna really get stuck in the mud if we can't see some resolution. I'm not saying do not pay them at some point in time, but this certainly sends a strong shot over the bow and says, hey, we're not happy with the way we're closing this stuff up. It seems like we never get closed up. We've got everything still open. And we've been long enough on some of these, just like Tanya's office. It's been long enough that they should be closed. And it's...
And to M.F. Litigan's defense, I mean, they're like everybody else in this town. They can't find people to work for them.
Sure.
They can't find subs that'll show up for work. They can't get people here because there's too much work and they don't have enough help. So, I mean, I'm probably more in the, my overall goal is to say the only tool we have is to stop payment. But I think it would probably be better to visit with all of them before we completely stop payments, because they could completely stop sending people
Right.
here too
That-
for a week or two.
That would
Which has
show
happened.
us.
that would
Which
be
has happened.
that would be my big
I would rather
concern.
not stop. I would rather not have a power struggle trying to figure that out and stop all work progress.
This won't be the last time we have the chance to do that if that's a tool we want to wield.
Well, if y'all think that's best, I'm certainly okay, but I'm telling you, I'm to that point. We did it to Tyler Odyssey, because we could not get resolution. And we kept getting pushed down the road and pushed down the road. But when the money stopped, they started throwing the hands to it, and we got resolution. So sometimes that's what it comes to.
And I do agree with that too, though. But I think we need to probably visit with them before we, I don't want to kick ourselves in the big toe while we're making a statement. But I do have a question on number 9. It's the same kind of stuff. I've been going over, and Cheryl, maybe you can, there's nobody here with Harper Perkins or M.F. Litigan, so I'm gonna ask you, on these, when you receive these, this bill, you know,
Yes.
that has what they did, this deal, do they send you anything other than this piece of paper?
Nope, that's what
Okay.
I get.
Huh?
That's what I get.
Okay, because if you go down through here and you look at the carpentry work for $57.80 and the roofing for $12,882, and you're just looking at what they have on this bill. If you look on the front of the bill, it doesn't say a date that it starts and a date that it ends. It only has a date that it ends. That I find a little odd, that we don't know when it's billed through.
Yes.
But we also don't know, because we have a courthouse with 12 remodels going on inside of it, none of this addresses what area it goes to.
Right, and it is very hard for our office to track that.
And it's hard for us trying to, is there anybody on the phone with Harper Perkins or Zoom or anything, or M.F. Litigan, you know? The reason I'm asking is trying to look at what's being done, the way it's done. We need a little bit more. We
Right.
probably need to get with them and see if we can get a little bit more information on these bills, so we can Because I'm trying to learn
And
how
the
to stay
bills-
up with it.
And
The
that,
bills
that's,
are a percent pay on the total contract. So
We're paying them millions of dollars.
We
So
are.
there's not a reason that they can't give us a little bit more detail
and
where it's
they,
going.
and that was part of the holdup before, was that I needed a breakdown in order to move the ARPA money, because permanent improvement ran out of money to pay the bills. And I could not move ARPA money out without a breakdown of what costs belong to each project to determine which basket I could use that money out of, so.
Well, in
yes,
the month of August, I don't know that there's been any card access changed here at the courthouse, and there's $1,800 card access deal. So I think we as the court need to get with Harper Perkins or MF Liticon and see if we can have this, at least some kind of backup to these to show what area it's working in. Whether it can be as generic as 30th District Court or annex.
well,
That's why I'm.
you talk to them. Y'all talk to them. Why don't y'all take over?
All we're asking, that we're all just trying to be involved and be a team player. Don't get defensive. We're not doing anything here to hurt your feelings. Well, I'm not.
And I think to
You
some
know,
degree,
this stuff could be asked. Asked of me, they could be asked at an OAC meeting instead of all this speculative stuff here in court, open court. But whatever.
Nothing.
I mean, I've bust my butt to try to keep this stuff flowing and get everything,
My question was.
everyone's wishes taken care of. But I don't see anybody coming to OAC meetings. It's an open door.
but yes, it makes it difficult for me to approve the bill, to know what's,
Okay. And that's
Yes.
all I will. That question had nothing to do with,
It's the same bills we've been paying, the exact same way we paid the entire LEC project with, the exact format, and no one's ever had a question about it until today.
and I think the questions have been
We did a
there.
$72 million project on this same format, and not a single question was asked about it.
well, there's a different court as well.
I think the court is trying to give you backup on some of the questions that have been hanging out
A
there.
backup, but it feels like I've got a knife stabbed in my back right now. Like, you're questioning my ability to run the project.
No, I'm
No,
questioning
no
the
one's
ability of
questioning
MF Liticon to finish a job. That's what I'm questioning, Mark. Has nothing to do with,
I've talked with people from MF Liticon, and I bragged on you. So that's not necessarily, what you're saying is not true. You're getting a little defensive. We're just putting this stuff out here in open court, because this is the only time we get to talk about it. If Linda or anybody with MF Liticon would have been here today, I would have been asking them questions. And I'm gonna continue to ask these questions, and I have some questions that I'm gonna follow up with the auditor's office on billing of certain jobs. Let's say the North Wall project. I might as well ask you right now, if I send you an email or call you and ask you what I would like to get on that billing, are you able to send me original bid, change orders, everything to do with that one project? Could you do that?
I'm not sure that we can,
Because there's not generally backup information that shows it all.
You get all,
it's hard to
No.
distinguish what in this is actually only pertaining to the North Wall.
And I'll follow up, because there's some questions I have, and that's what
Some of it we can, but some of it we
I had gone to Mark and asked questions, because I'm just trying to learn
can't.
the billing process for this company and the way they do some projects. Because from what I've been looking at it, it's hard for me to understand. And that's why I've gone to Mark and asked questions. And I was gonna do some follow-up questions with you.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
From the standpoint of the consent agenda today, are you, Commissioner, you're not making a motion to pull anything down today after the discussion we've had, but knowing that it's something that may change in future agendas,
Sure.
right? Okay,
And I don't either.
okay,
As far as this, I'll go make a motion to approve consent agenda.
okay. Have a second?
second.
Did anyone have any other questions on any other consent agenda items? Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Fincannon and a second by Commissioner Watts to approve the consent agenda as amended. As a reminder, it's been a long discussion on this. Item 14, consent agenda item 14 was pulled off of the agenda. So this is a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended. Any comment or question on the motion or the agenda? All right, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, moving along to general business item number 1. Review and approve the regular bills for payment. Order county treasurer to disperse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically unless directed otherwise or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
So,
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Fincannon and seconded by Commissioner Watts. Does anyone have a question or comment on the motion or the item itself? All right, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, item number 2. Open and take action as necessary on RFPs for food services for Wichita County detention facilities.
Nancy's not holding any unless Will is holding some.
You know, they didn't come to our office, they were supposed to come until he sent ours.
I will check with her, if you wanna hold that.
Okay. We're going to postpone that till the end of the agenda. That's my motion. Does anyone have any objection to that motion?
And this is the only time we've done the RFP. There's not a second RFP out there, right? I saw it in the electric paper, and I guess it's this one I'm seeing,
Yes.
just notifying,
Yep.
okay. I just didn't know if we went to something else as well. Okay.
Okay. Is there objection to the motion to pull this to the end of the agenda today? Okay. Then we'll move on to item number 3. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to amend Court Order 22.0228.131, approved for $21,864, to add an additional $30,286 to the radio alarm project for tower site equipment alarms, for a total project cost of $52,150 to be paid from Department 406 with lines determined by the county auditor. Lee, do you want to speak to this one?
Yeah, I'll give a brief overview of what this is. In 2022, now let me clarify before we start, this tower alarms is not like a monitored alarm system for like a building. The tower alarms are for monitoring things like doors, generators, power, propane, battery power, air conditioning, stuff like that. When those things fail, these alarms will give myself and mobile phone either a text message or an email, or maybe both, I'm not sure yet, a notification that something's happening that's not right. And to give an example, we had the tower site in the tower site in Burke Burnett went offline, the power went off, and we didn't know that. We weren't notified, we don't go there on a regular basis and just listen. And the propane company went and refilled the tank, and they called and said, hey, I'm refilling your tank. Well, that's fine, it's probably low because it exercises itself. Then a couple weeks later, he called back and said, hey, I'm refilling your tank again, the generator's still running. And what are you talking about? So we went out there and found out that because the whole site is on generator power, that the commercial power to the building, to the site, the fuse popped, nobody knew it. So the guys that were up there mowing the grass were running for a couple weeks, so we got a giant propane bill as a result of that. So this type of alarm system is what that will stop. Another example is during the windstorm we just had, the tower site on Barnett Road, the generator didn't start, and we didn't know that until we couldn't use the repeater anymore. So we called mobile phone, they went out there and said, hey, generator's off. Called the generator guy, he went out there and got it going, kind of thing. So could have eliminated a lot of that confusion and saved a lot of time if I'd have got a notification immediately that, hey, this site's not running, the power's off, generator's not starting. So that's the type of alarm this is. It's not conventional burglar alarm kind of deal.
Clarify the wording on that motion for me, Lee.
What do you include?
It says, discuss, consider, and/or take action to amend Court Order 220228.131, approved for $21,864 to add an additional $30,286. So are you saying that $21,864 is not enough and we need to
Yes.
throw another 30?
Yes. So 21,864 is a court order given in 2022. Mobile phone went out to the sites, installed some equipment and got it going. And then we needed internet access, which Brandon got involved in that, and we found out that, and I'm gonna let Dwayne explain that, because on the technical side, but it wouldn't, the voice and the data wouldn't work together. So this is a solution to fix that. So, the total price of the project's $52,150.
And this for how many towers?
This is for all the sites, including KMA.
6.
Let's see.
So we didn't know that the voice would not work, then
1, 2, 3. Yeah, all 6 sites, including the new site coming up for KMA. So when that's built, that is included in this proposal as well. Put that one
there
in.
was another piece of equipment that should have been bid to begin with, that would have
No.
done both.
No, we didn't ever include the site alarms in the original proposal from Motorola because it would have been a lot more expensive for them to come in and say, hey, we're gonna do this in addition. Instead of being 52, it probably would have been double that. So we try to do it here locally, do it ourselves with our local contractor.
So this might be a question for mobile phone. The motion that was approved back on February 28th of last year to do the $21,864 to install alarms on the communication system so that where public safety radio equipment is located, so that county and contracted maintenance personnel can be automatically notified when there is a site equipment failure. What was that?
That was some equipment that we had put in that brought all the alarms and all the different status of the site or the system into, and would respond either through email, text message, or however we got it set up. We got all that in place, but what happened is I spoke with the microwave provider, and they said, yeah, we've got plenty of bandwidth and everything else. But what I did not realize, or what was not discussed, was Motorola sitting across that network with a public safety network. They're using that whole bandwidth, they were using that bandwidth, and never intended on that bandwidth to be used, any part of that bandwidth to touch any internet or any public address. And that's what we're trying to do. Well, Motorola blocked everything out, and we weren't able. We tried to reprogram a couple of switches. We had issues with it, and I got talking with Motorola on it. They said we got to re-engineer the system, the network system, to where we can move aside, give you network, keep that network off of our equipment, and open our ports up and open our switches up. And that's what that $30,286 is for network design and engineers to redo that network.
And this includes the 2 new sites at Electra as well?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and install the Electra site, and that'll be moved with the shelter in Electra is being moved to the new tower site. So this stuff will all be installed in that shelter, and that will go over there, so it'll already be there. And the one in KMA is the one that says Feign Trust is the one in KMA. So when we do the site in KMA, when that's done, then the alarms will be put in at the same time.
So, wasn't here in 2022, so they may already know the answer to this, but the 2022 quote and the work done in the 2022 amount, that work has been completed. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
But it wouldn't do the job.
But
We had problems with the network, and that's when we had to contact Motorola and requested them to open up their ports. And they said we had to re-engineer the system, the network, and we can open up ports and share that with you and everything else. But as far as the quote from 2022 being done, or the requested money being completed. It's not completed because it's not working.
So
But
mo-
everything is installed.
So the money in 2022, the 21,864, that was solely to Mobile Phone of Texas. That didn't have anything to do with Motorola. So when it didn't work, we called Motorola. They're pretty touchy about their stuff. And they said, you know, like, we got a maintenance contract on thing. If we just give you access to it, then you might mess something up and cause us to make, you know, some claims for warranty, which wouldn't be accurate. So they're pretty particular about how they handle the security of that stuff.
I don't know that we would be changing that court order though.
Yeah,
I don't know that Rick would.
Well, the court order expired, you know, so this is 2023, so I had to come back for the 21,864 anyway.
Court order expired.
Well, wouldn't, is that right? Rick?
Court order
When I called you, you said it
expired.
wouldn't.
So
well,
we haven't-
court
we
didn't
haven't paid
expire,
for
but the
this?
money didn't
No,
carry
this
over.
is
it's,
No, it hasn't
the
been.
21,864.
It's
The
not
bill
been
hasn't
paid.
been come to my office,
Yeah,
but
but, so they haven't submitted a bill, and I called
Oh,
Cheryl and
okay.
asked her.
oh,
and
because the
said-
project's not complete.
Yeah.
Is
Right.
that-
Roger's not.
So when I called
Okay.
Cheryl and said, hey, it's not gonna be done till 2023, she said,
Yeah.
I need to
You will
update
have
the
to,
court order.
we either need
for
to
2023.
update it or we need
Yeah.
an additional
Yeah.
court order because this actually sounds almost like two different things.
Yeah.
Is the 30,000
Yeah,
to
it's
82
a
going to be
scope
paid
change.
to whom? Motorola or?
Well, yeah,
Mobile Phone?
they've asked for a PO in this thing, that, whatever that amount is, 30. Yeah, $29,036 will be paid to Motorola, and 1,400 and something will be paid to Mobile Phone for those additional switches that
Okay.
we need. So they've asked, Motorola's asked for a purchase order for the 29,000 something, and then Mobile Phone, they don't generally require us to have any purchase orders.
And the 29,000, and I know neither of y'all are with Motorola, obviously. What is that doing? Sorry, I'm not
It
a
is-
radio expert,
Okay,
so.
what Motorola does, or what they have, is all their networks issue a public safety network, therefore it's got the high security on it. This network wasn't ever going to touch any outside network, so therefore that security is not up to that level. We're trying to bring an outside network connection into it and tie to their network. They said, no, not without us, I guess, strengthening our network, giving our network, hardening the network to where someone won't go in there and hack into it and cause all kinds of problems in the future. And so that's what that 30,000 is for, or 29, and to go in there, re-engineer and redesign the network, and make sure the timing's right, because it's all about timing. And you bring your voice or your data in from the system that you're currently using from the system, and if we deliver that voice, you know, off timing, we have problems. So there's a network engineer and there's an IT, there's a couple of IT persons included in that for Motorola and everything else for support. And they will be up for 4 days on that.
Okay, so what's happening? If you look at the towers, imagine the towers like a cable. The network is there's a cable running to each one of them, and that's what the wireless link is. Motorola is using that entire link. They're using the cable to run their data over. We tried to use it as well, but the way they have it locked down, it's not locked down enough. They never expected anyone else to share that link. They expected them to be the only user. So if you try to put other data on it like we were going to, they were cross-talking, causing issues. So that's why we stopped it and said this was not engineered that way.
Yeah.
So what they have to do is come back and re-engineer the sites to understand that there will be other data running on that cable. So they have to isolate their equipment from anything else that would be talking. That way their equipment would be exposed to the internet. And that's what they're gonna have to do, is
Okay.
re-engineer the network with another assumption that they won't be the only one on that link.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. That's very good. Yeah, I'm gonna push the talk, guys.
Okay, and since y'all have already been talking, there's not another way to do this that's more cost effective?
I don't know, I haven't looked at it on that perspective, I've just looked at it from this one. There may be, we could do wireless links if all you're doing is alarms. You're not transmitting data unless there's an issue, so a simple wireless link would actually be relatively inexpensive. cell phone link.
We
Just
looked
the
at,
router out
several
there.
options in doing that, and this one-time payment looked like the cheapest in the long run because of the ongoing monthly fees that would take for that. I don't remember what that was, but we looked at that on a conference call at one point.
Yeah, there would be
They were
continual
quite high.
fees with a wireless setup that would go on forever.
Then you
It's a
probably
one-time
have wireless
purchase.
fees at every location.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanna
it's-
say,
so-
it was like $2,500 a month, or $2,000 a month or
Yeah,
something
it
ridiculous.
was,
It's quite expensive.
yeah, look, I don't think it was quite that, but it was gonna be, somewhere around a grand on that, I believe.
For a simple wireless hotspot that isn't expected to run a lot of data, say sub 100 megabytes a month, you're looking at $30-40 a month per
I
site.
think we had
That's about
$50,
it.
$60 or something per site.
But if you have 12 sites, it adds up, whatever.
Sure.
It's going to be a continual cost. This is astounding amount of money to re-engineer a network, but I guess it's Motorola.
Yeah.
They're not doing a lot of work, I can tell you that, for the amount
Well-
of money that it is. But at the end of the day, it's something that once paid for, it's done.
But so I'm clear, Dwayne, we did need the $21,000 expenditure?
That's equipment, yes.
Okay.
It's there right now. Switches.
And it'll
uh,
still be used
it
when
was-
the
yes, yes,
30,000
sir.
comes on top
Yes,
to
sir.
enhance it?
And really, probably the 30,000 is just because it's Motorola, and just because they have to send a
So-
crew here for
Send
a week to
Mhm.
take care of it and all their.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're not
And-
gonna add any equipment. They've got everything on site. All they're gonna do is change the configurations.
But if their
Well, they don't
network
have
and
to
they're
be
the
on
only,
site to do it, they'll just send it down somewhere.
They'll have a technician there to make
Yeah.
sure that it works right, but correct, it'll mostly be done remotely. The technician will just sit and make sure it works.
Well, it can't be, there's no remote access to it currently.
So it all has to be done here.
There is on the main side. They can get to it from one site and connect to all the others.
Right.
So they can remotely update the equipment. They just will have someone here to make sure that it's done correctly.
and ultimately it's their network and so
Yes,
they.
it's
they-
our public safety
Yeah.
network.
So Cheryl, would it be cleaner from your perspective to just amend the quarter to like this language is asking? Or would it be cleaner on y'all's side for us to do it? To add this as sort of a different project and handle the payment of the 21,864 separately?
I would think it would be a separate, because, I mean, one is for equipment and one is for payment for network engineering, which is, yes, the network engineering is needed to make the equipment work, but it's not really the same thing.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, Judge.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that motion's going to.
Second motion for a new court order to add the 3286.
Brendan, what's your recommendation?
I hate that it's so expensive, but if you do it this way, it's the network, I'd say go with it. Because you're gonna be going over the same link, which is good, because then you know if the link's down, it's not adding in more complexity, and it's probably, I would say it's the right way to do it, it's just sadly the most expensive way to do it.
Well, it's a Motorola system, and we can't very well
Right.
hire somebody else to go work on it, so we're
Correct.
kind of stuck over a barrel here.
And we did try it, and it's, once I figured out what the problem was, I recommended that they go with Motorola, because I don't have access into their system, so we can't engineer our way around it. So this, as far as to use the same radios, you're gonna have to use Motorola.
Right. Sometimes you're just stuck.
I may or may not be right, but I would think that if we went through Motorola and did this one-time thing, we're introducing something that's a public safety radio grade and not cell communications that are not as robust as I think this will be. That was another concern. If you have wireless at each site and, you lose one site, you don't even know you've lost that. Where if they're all in one system and you lose it, you're probably gonna know.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, does the court order need to say issue a purchase order
No.
to Motorola? Okay, because they
So-
have that in here.
Let me see. I think that the motion that Commissioner Watts is making would read Discuss, consider, and/or take action to amend, or it would be to take action to amend Court Order 22.0228.131, approved for 21,864, to add an additional $30,286 for network re-engineering for tower site equipment alarms, period. The total project cost, $52,150, will be paid from Department 406. Does that
That works. That's
work for you? Okay.
Does it make any difference that part of it's going to mobile phone, part of it's going to?
No.
Because we don't mention who it's going to.
Second.
The original court order does say mobile phone.
And that is all mobile phone.
I will. As soon as we.
Yes, the original court order says mobile phone, so.
If we just add an additional $30,286 to be paid to Motorola,
Well, that wouldn't be right.
And mobile phone.
Yeah,
They're both in it.
It's like 1,400.
yeah,
is mobile phone.
okay. All right, so the motion will now read, motion to take action to amend Court Order 22.0228.131, approved for 21,864, to add an additional 30,286 to be paid to Motorola and Mobile Phone of Texas for network re-engineering for tower site equipment alarms. And then this total project cost, the rest is the same. Okay, that was confusing. The motion was made by Commissioner Watts. Do we have a second? All right, do we have any questions or comments on the motion or this item? Okay, the motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0.
Dwayne, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
Out of here. On Barnett Road, the tower on Barnett,
Yes, sir.
the road's getting real encumbered with mesquite getting to the tower.
We actually went out there, I think first of last week, Lee notified us of that.
Okay.
And I sent my maintenance guy out there and he trimmed up both sides.
Okay, good deal. If we needed to help with that, or we needed to rub some off the shoulders, we'll be glad to do
Yeah,
that.
it's actually an easement going back to that tower, so
Okay.
they're kind of picky on it and everything.
Sure.
So,
Well, I didn't know for sure what the deal, I just wanted to find out.
no, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, general business item number 4, discuss, consider, and/or take action to approve one of 2 quotes for annual air filter service and preventative maintenance at the LEC to be paid from Department 511 with lines determined by the county auditor.
Motion to table pending review from Rick Sykes. He's not here today.
Okay. Do we have any objection to the motion to table this one for today? Okay, then this item is pulled off. General business item number 5, discuss, consider, and/or take action on a voluntary dental quote from Texas Association of Counties Health and Employee Benefits Pool. Go ahead.
We'll make a motion to pull it. We've got additional information coming Friday, ask our HR department to put together.
Is there objection to the motion to table the general business item number 5? Okay, and that is also pulled off. Item number 6, Nancy's worried about stuff being tabled now. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to purchase Agenda Quick by Destiny Software Incorporated at a cost of $2,750 for installation and setup, and $4,500 for annual hosting fee to be paid from Department 401 with lines determined by the county auditor and authorized county judge to sign contract. If approved for the remainder of 2023, the hosting fee will be prorated. One thing I will say is that if we do move forward with this and we want to do the contract management software, we'll need to change it to $49.50 for the annual hosting fee.
I'd make that motion, Judge.
Second.
I think it'll improve us and speed us up.
Yeah, I think it'll make it easier to search. It'll make it easier, especially for contract management and tracking and data reporting from that. I think all of that will help us.
As long as Nancy can backfill the last 5 years, that'll be great.
And Mel, you'll be able to look at those contracts on there, okay, and just kind of ride shotgun?
I'm excited about it. I hope I
Okay.
think it'll be good.
All right, we've got the motion by Commissioner Watts and seconded by Commissioner Beecham to purchase the software, with the only change being $4,950 for annual hosting fee. Do we have any questions or other comment on the motion or the item? All right, motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Before we do the update, do we have the bids? No.
Checked, and there's nothing.
Okay,
We'll have something.
we'll have something.
So yeah, the bids were supposed to come here, but when we did the walkthrough on the fourth, our current provider is the only one that showed up for that, and our current provider is the only one who says they sent a bid in last Wednesday. So
Where did it go to?
it came here. That's what stated on the proposal.
Okay, but we didn't receive.
We didn't get it.
We didn't receive it.
Okay. Well, we can't
So
take action
we-
on something we didn't receive, so.
Procedurally, what do we do, Mel?
We'll have to.
If
I get
but
it.
bid's been submitted and we don't have it.
Bid.
But we haven't checked or asked anybody. I mean, it could be setting somewhere, I guess.
The United States Postal Service not most reliable.
Do we reopen the period?
Yeah, will we need to?
Can we just ask for a resubmittal immediately?
I think so, but I'd have to look, guys. I don't know.
Okay.
Top of my head, I don't know.
Let
Well,
the,
considering they notified us that they sent it,
Yeah.
almost a week ago, we should be able to.
But if we haven't taken receipt of that.
no, I
it's-
think to avoid, I think
This
the
is,
safest option is gonna be to just not take action on the item today
not take
and
action.
see what our options are for
Yeah.
next time court meets. If we can find the
And-
proposals or if we're gonna need to.
Maybe it did get here, I don't know. Sounds like
yeah,
it didn't.
I mean, bid opening, we should have all of our bids in front of us
Yeah.
before we do an opening.
Absolutely.
Can we not ask for a copy of the last bid submitted? Because we're putting ourselves in a vulnerable position.
What do you mean by, not, I mentioned in your second part, what do you mean by asking for a copy of the?
Can we not ask for a copy that was submitted to us a week ago?
No, it's gotta be the.
It's gotta be sealed, it's gotta be a sealed packet
Yeah.
received in time for the bid opening. So we're in a procedural conundrum at this point.
If we see if another office has it, can we put it back on the agenda next month?
I mean,
It hasn't
it-
been received in this court.
Yeah, let's, I think our only option today is to table the item completely, or to not, it's not to table, it's just to take no action. And then Melvin will figure out what we need to do before the next court, if it's to redo the process again, or if it's to do something else. Okay. All right, then, on general business item number 2, let's take no action on it. Okay, and then that brings us to general business item number 7, receive update on courthouse renovation, elevator projects, and county courthouse annex from Commissioner Beecham.
Now, we've talked a lot about it already. 5th floor, right now, we've got carpet going down in the NPR. Painting continuing up there. Most of the painting's done. Drop ceiling, now that we've approved the lighting, they can finish the drop ceiling area. Trying to work as quickly as possible to get that open before October. Temporary courtroom. All we lack finishing there is installing the furniture when it arrives this week. and putting in the countertops. The materials in town, they're being constructed, so that should go in this week. See nothing to delay that further. Elections, working in that area to try to finish that up this week.
You have good elevator news.
I do have elevator news.
Oh, it's not good though.
Well, half good, half bad.
Okay.
The NX elevator, who knows? It may be done in our lifetime. I wouldn't hold my breath. I might die. Courthouse elevator, it was promised with a date and a year this time, this Wednesday. I'll believe it when I see it. Don't stab me in the back if it's not done. It's not my fault.
So where things stand on that then is we had our conference call with TK last week, and they are working. Ricky asked the question that, to them of if they could find the part that we needed, that board for the annex elevator, from another elevator, and they said they've already
Exhausted that.
tried to look for other cars that might be an option to cannibalize from that and use, and they haven't found any takers. They're still looking for us.
So is that part not manufactured?
It is manufactured. It's just that's what they won't have delivery of it until at least November from the
If they-
factory.
Did they
If
say
they-
where it's at?
The factory?
No, the part.
It's
It
a
hasn't-
board.
It hasn't been.
It's a circuit board.
Yeah.
And
But it's an already manufactured part that's sitting somewhere.
No, that's what
No.
they're saying. Is it has to be
it has to be
manufactured.
manufactured.
That's what it is.
So
So we're still where we thought we were before the call, which is November on the annex.
if they weren't even sure about November. So
But the other one in the courthouse should be.
they promised Wednesday.
Yep.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it.
Mark, I had some questions on, that was at the appraisal district when I went. The two colors of flooring
Mm-hmm.
on the on the third floor, I guess.
Yep.
What, are we changing that up? Are we fixing that?
No, that's the way it was designed.
The two different colors?
Yep, that's the way the first floor is gonna be as well.
All right. Do we have any other?
No, the floor's down on the third and fourth floor. The ceiling work's being done on the tax office. It's looking really good. That project's moving really quick. Season masters running ductwork throughout. A lot of moving parts.
All right. We have any other questions? Or yes, sir.
Going back to the agenda item for the bid, according to Airmark, who submitted the bid, it was delivered on Thursday at 9:56 and signed for. They don't know who signed for it, but it was delivered here last Thursday. So
Cool. So maybe we can find it.
Have we, before we close court today and that item is done, have we done a thorough search to make sure?
Anybody look in the mailroom?
I'll run down to the mailroom.
Yeah,
Options.
How does that work?
It should be,
Like, does somebody sign for that stuff?
Security signs for them. If they have a package comes in, they'll,
What we've heard sometimes is that if they're in a real hurry for an extra appraisal, they just put in a signature that's been there before.
While we wait, hold on. Do we have any other questions or comments on general business item 7? Okay. Then I'm gonna order us in recess while we see if we can track down this, and we'll be in recess for 15 minutes. All right, we are back from recess, and we are taking up general business item number 2, which is open and take action as necessary on RFPs for food services for Wichita County detention facilities. We did manage to find in the mailroom, we did find one submittal, and so Commissioner Watts is opening that up now. Thanks to Commissioner Beecham for his, where's Waldo, search of the
Work.
mailroom to find it.
It's sealed.
Imagine how they wrap Christmas presents. Don't stack yourself.
In the way.
Yeah, knife safety. Don't cut toward yourself.
Another box.
Fill up the space. So
Packing
shape.
paper used for
A box.
Does anyone care to make a guess if there's another box inside the box?
You get all the way down the middle of the jump drive.
For a jack in the box.
Notebooks are sealed.
So this is a proposal from Aramark.
I've had the sealed bids before, but this is.
That's a really sealed bid.
They weren't taking any chances.
Silo mill sealed bid.
Well, I was hoping there would be one line to read into the record, but there is not.
With an item of this magnitude, I would make the motion that we take it under advisement to review.
Okay. So we've got the
Second.
motion to take under advisement and review.
Actually, the RFP said that the award, it would be awarded October 16th.
Okay. Well, then, great. We've got up till then to, oh no, the proposal says it will be awarded on October 16th? Okay.
Then never mind. We don't, no action needed.
Yep, all right. We will take no action, but just let the record reflect that we received one proposal from Aramark, and we will take no action on it at this time. Okay. Anyone have any questions on that item? All right.